refinisherstore.com. We are working. It is cold today, so I'm going to keep the hat on. It's actually warm in here, so I'll probably take it off, but my hair will be terrible. So we are working on a chip. I'm going to show you what we're working on here. We're just going to be going through the process of repairing this chip. This is a very simple repair with our Ultimate Chip Repair Kit. Apologize about the angle. I am going to probably get a better tripod for different instances like this, but for now we'll just show you. We'll talk through the process. This is going to be a pretty minor repair, pretty straightforward, but there are some things you want to be aware of as you're, I guess we'll leave that on. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Some things on these chips, sometimes you will have you'll notice this is the gel coat that's breaking off the fiberglass. So you want to just be sure that you're removing any kind of loose gel coat off of there, because that can be prone to keep moving and cause it to chip again in the future. So I see some little spots here where the gel coat is probably a little bit more fragile. So we just want to bust that away. And it's, you know, it's kind of like a stiff eggshell or something. You just want to kind of get rid of it. Pretty straightforward here. You know, I'm just using a putty knife. This is a pretty stiff putty knife, but you know, a putty knife would work fine. And it's a little brittle, and it does keep on going. So. Okay, well, it's a little bigger than we'd hoped. But that's what it is. So, give you a good little view of that. So this still, Ultimate Chip Kit's gonna work fine. Probably what we're gonna do is we're gonna see, it'll probably take 2 coats. So we're going to just be prepared to do a couple coats of the finish putty on this. Be patient with me as I work this camera out. I should have brought a better tripod. So we're going to try to get this basically where we can keep it up. Okay. Alright, forgive me while we're working with this tripod. It is little. Okay, I think I got it. Alright, so you can see that chip. Give you a reference. It is about 2 of my thumbs. So we're just going to be fixing that. Like I said, I already chipped away some of this loose gel coat. Anything that was kind of cracked and chipping away, it's like an eggshell, so you got to kind of chip that off. Now the next step is to get the surface prepped. So what we're going to do is we're going to hand sand it. It's not going to be too hard. We just want to get around the edges and kind of outline it a little bit, and be sure that we've got kind of a buffer area for our finish putty to stick to. just going to clean that up. Okay, so every Ultimate chip kit, we always recommend having a vacuum, a 5-inch orbital sander, a blow dryer, an extension cord, and a 3-prong splitter. You know, I'm not going to use the orbital sander on this one, so you can get by without that on a lot of the chip kit repairs, very minor. Generally, you can hand sand those, and that's not going to be a problem. Now, on this repair, I just cleaned that off with some acetone. And now it's ready. I'm going to go ahead and put the first coat of finish putty on there. Like I said, I think this is quite possible it's going to take a couple of coats. So we're prepared for that. And this is just a 4-ounce can of finish putty that you would get with your kit. And then you'll get a tube of blue cream hardener. That is going to be well more than enough. So you'll notice in the kit it says a 1:50 ratio. This is actually 1 ounce of blue cream hardener and 4 ounces of finish putty, so don't feel like you need to use all this. In fact, I would recommend not using all this in your Ultimate chip kit. It would only take a fraction of this, and we'll show you our mix ratio here. So like I said, the finish putty and the glass putty, if you ever, if you bump this up to a large wall repair kit, the glass putty is going to be the same way. It's going to call for a 1:50, that's 50 ratio. And it's hard to measure that. You're not going to be able to measure that. And so just don't feel pressure to have it exact or anything like that. That is the minimum ratio. It is okay to be a little over that. That's not going to hurt anything. So I'll show you what we've got here. There's still plenty of product here. I'm not using probably not even 1/8 of this jar. So you'll see you get 4 ounces is actually quite a bit of putty. And so don't worry about running short on a project like this. It would take a large chip, a very large chip, to actually run short on. Okay, so we don't give you the mixing pad, but we do give you the putty spreader, the hardener and the finish putty. Mixing pad, if you have paper plates, cardboard, anything like that, that'll work. So this is the ratio we're going to go with, and then I'll just see if I can do this right here. We're just going to stir this up in here. It's going to turn into like a nice kind of greenish color. You want it to be a nice smooth color. You don't want any streaks of blue or yellow in there. So we always kind of stir it up, fold it over a few times. And I would recommend wear your respirator during this part. I'm going to stick mine on here in just a second, so you might hear my voice become a little muffled. But I'm going to go ahead and just get the first coat in here. Kind of get it in there. There's a little nip there. I want to be sure to get it in there and get it under it, so I'm kind of pressing it in there. We're really just trying to set up a foundation. I do fully expect to do a second coat on this. So really all we're doing is trying to just get us something to build on top of. That's good for the first coat. And now one thing I do, see, I've got a lot extra, so 4 ounces goes a long way. So I'm just going to clean that off. I'm going to clean off my putty spreader, and I'm going to wipe up that area right there. Kind of clean around the edges, and then we'll put a blow dryer on it. Try to speed that cure up a little bit. And as that's curing, I'm going to go ahead and put my mask on. I do have the exhaust fan on. This is a pretty small project, but it's still got the odor, and we highly recommend Wear your respirator when you work with our products. Okay, so we'll sand that. That finish putty is going to be fairly easy to sand, and it's not too difficult. So I'm going to hit this blow dryer, heat it up a little bit, and then we'll talk some more. I'm going to go ahead and put my respirator on here. So I do want to give that about 15 minutes to set up before I sand it. So in the meantime, I've got my respirator on. I'm gonna put this over my face, and just feel free to message any questions you got or anything. If we don't answer you during the live stream, we'll check it out. We'll try to look for comments afterwards and get any questions answered. So let me know if you have any questions. So I'm just cleaning up all my project residue with that acetone. You will get an 8-ounce bottle of acetone in your kit, and that'll go a long ways. You'll have more than enough to get through a project like this for sure. So I'm going to hit this with the blow dryer a little bit more, kind of keep that curing going. Okay, so like I said, this is the ultimate chip kit. Everything you see us use here, except for the equipment, minus the mixing pad, you would want to use like maybe the box that we ship it in. You could cut that up, use that for mixing pads. And then the equipment, a reminder is we'd like to have a vacuum, a 5-inch orbital sander, a blow dryer, an extension cord, a 3-prong splitter, and occasionally a power drill with some drill bits. Especially if you're working on like one of our floor crack repair kits, you're definitely going to need a power drill for that. Or if it's a crack, maybe there's a crack running along the wall or something, you do want to cut off cracks with the drill bit. So that would be an instance where you'd want to have that power drill. But like on this one, we're actually not gonna use the orbital sander, just because it's so minor. Generally, if you're just dealing with the finish putty, that's not as hard to sand, so we'll probably get through that no problem. Now in your kits, we do provide the sandpaper, so you would get 2 discs of orbital sandpaper, one of 80 grit, one of 120 grit sandpaper, and that should be enough to get through any project, any one project. A lot of times we use you know, a disc on 2, 3, 4 projects before we switch them out. So definitely just take your time on this. We're still letting it set up. You can touch it and feel it. It's not really transferring onto the glove, which is nice, and it is starting to kind of firm up, but we still want to go ahead and give it probably another, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Make sure it gets set. You don't want to sand it too soon. It won't have a full bond to the surface, and it could start to chip away. Also, when you're doing multiple coats on the finish putty, a lot of times, since we're trying to really just rebuild this shape here, I'll sand it in between coats, as opposed to where, like on a large wall repair kit, if we're doing multiple coats on a large wall repair kit, and I'm just trying to build it up and give it durability with that glass putty, I will actually just wait about 10 minutes in between, let it kind of firm up to this amount, and then go over the top of it with another layer just to give it more durability. And that's what we're doing when we do multiple coats on the large wall repair kit. So Ultimate Chip Repair Kit, it's still a little soft. I can tell. You can tell by feeling it. What it should feel like is it should just feel dry to the touch, and it's definitely not quite there yet. It definitely got a little drag to it. You can tell when you touch it. So we're going to keep letting that set up. Now, one thing we do recommend is if you have any interest in actually repairing bathtubs, it can be a very profitable little service business that you can run out of. Literally, all you need is like a closet. You don't need a lot of space for the tools, and you don't need a big van or truck or anything. I mean, you can run around with, you know, in a small car or a small truck. We ran around for a long time in a Kia Rio. You know, you just want to keep your trash can cleaned out. That can get a little stinky, so we would recommend that. But you can do this. We did it for years, just running around in a little Kia Rio. You throw your tools in the back of the car. You get great gas mileage. You pop around. You make repairs, and you just kind of stack up, you know, 2 or 3 repairs in a day, and you can make $1,000 in a day. And it's kind of a nice little niche. So if you'd ever have any interest in you know, doing tub repair, give us a call. We're developing a list right now of people that would be interested. We are working on a pro portal on the website where once you are trained, and we really prefer to have people that are trained in how we do tub repair. And then we would give you access to the Pro Portal where you could buy individual products and run your own tub repair service. And if you also, you know, are trained by us and you're out there doing the work, then we would put you on our list of people to refer business to in your location. So really trying to build up a network. That's what our goal for 25. One of our goals for 25 is to kind of build a network, because there's a lot of people that don't want to do DIY tub repair. They don't want to do it themselves. They just want somebody to come in that's done it many times and just make that repair for them. And they're willing to pay more for it. And so, you know, we'll talk to you not only about how to do the trade, but also how to run a business and how to do the business. We do think we've got a pretty good recipe on the service side of the business, and we'd love to share that with people and help you develop your own tub repair business in your market. There's not a lot of people out there that specialize in this. So anyway, we're getting close on this. I'm going to give it a little bit longer. I'll probably hit it with that blow dryer just a little bit more. I can definitely feel it starting to dry out. It's still got a little drag to it. If I hit it right now with the sandpaper, it would probably gunk up my sandpaper a little bit. I don't know if I'd want to do that. So anyway, I'm just going to dry it just a little bit more. It's kind of sounds kind of counterintuitive, but actually the more patient you are going through your project, letting everything set up appropriately with the right times, the faster you will get through your project, because you won't have to go back and redo steps. So just take your time on all these parts. This is the first coat of this that we're going to do. So here we go. But I'm just going to use 120 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to hand sand it. That'd be maybe a little much on. You got to be careful going over this finish putty with an orbital sander. It will get through it pretty quick, so you just want to sand it lightly if you're ever doing that. So yeah, we're pretty well there. I'm going to give it just a few more minutes. Getting close. So one thing about the Ultimate Chip Kit, this is what we would be installing here, is the Ultimate Chip Kit. Now the big thing that separates the Ultimate Chip Kit from the large wall repair kit is on the Ultimate Chip Kit, we're looking at, you know, this was a very large chip out of the gel coat, but it still had a fiberglass backing and it was firm. So, you know, it didn't need really to be reinforced. We're really just trying to rebuild that shape and rebuild that gel coat there. And so the Ultimate Chip Kit works great for that. Now, I would not just use the Ultimate Chip Kit if it's going to be, if it needs kind of reinforced, if it's a hole, you know, or a weak crack on the wall or something where it's got a little bit of play. This stuff is not really meant to reinforce it. It's just really just meant to bring back the shape and fill any kind of imperfections. But the large wall repair kit is going to actually add durability. If you've got like a weak crack or a hole or something like that, you want to get that large wall repair kit. It'll add the durability that you're looking for on those types of repairs. And so here pretty soon we're going to match the color. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to sand this down, and then I'll apply my second coat. And while that second coat is setting up, I'm going to go ahead and match my color on the edge of this tub here, and I'll show you how we do that. So I'm going to sand this down real quick, get that second coat on there. Okay, and I'm just using some acetone. I'm going to clean up those edges. I'm going to clean that up. And like I said, that was just our first coat. I would fully inspect, a second coat, which is pretty common on large ones like this. We just want to be sure to fill in. Oh, still alive. Okay, we just want to be sure to fill in any little bubbles, any little small little spots that you see there on that back side. We want to sure to get those filled in well. So we're going to go ahead and do a second coat here. And then while that second coat's drying, we're going to go ahead and match our color and get our sprayer ready. So there we go. See, I'm not using a lot. I still got well over, 2/3, 3/4 of that jar left. So an ultimate chip kit will actually go quite a ways. And you can kind of see if you, if you did this as a profession, you could really keep your material costs pretty low on these repairs. Most of your expenses and labor, time on the job and driving. Okay, so we're going to put a little hardener in that. Show you what we got here. Doesn't take much, like I said. We got plenty of hardener left. Like I said, on a chip kit, you're going to get, 1 ounce of blue cream hardener and 4 ounces of finish putty. And the ratio only calls for 1 part hardener to 50 parts putty. That's 50. So you don't need to use anywhere near all of that hardener with that finish putty. Dang it! Alright, coming back. I'm gonna bring a better tripod next time, so we're making do right now. Kinda got that set up here. We'll really press that in that hole back there on the back side. And be sure to get that covered well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to get a little bit in there. Having trouble getting it on the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure we get a good even, and then we'll shape it with the sandpaper after the fact. So I just want to be sure I've got enough on here and I'm going to be able to actually get that edge how I want it. Okay, so I'm going to leave that be. And we'll sand it here in a little bit, but right now I'm going to go ahead and match my color and get my coating prepped. Clean up your tools, clean off your gloves with some acetone, just keep your stuff clean. It's going to help you go through the project, much smoother than if you're working with messy products, messy equipment and stuff. So got that. Now hopefully, and I don't think I'll have to, but hopefully I don't need to do a third coat. Obviously I've got enough finished putty to do a third coat if I needed to, but hopefully I don't need to. So I'm going to hit that with the blow dryer and then we'll start matching our color. All right, I'm going to adjust this camera here real quick. So bear with me. Try to make sure we got a good. Okay, so here we're going to be matching the color. In all of our kits come with the same color coding kit. You're going to have 2 ounces of 4 different colors of resin. So really, basically using those 4 resins, you should be able to match about 90, almost 99%, you know, maybe 95% of tubs. Basically anything from a bright white to a kind of a darker almond. You should be able to match. This is, you know, just a little bit of a off-white tub, and I'll go through the whole process with you, how I would recommend it, especially if you're kind of doing this for the first time, you're kind of new to it. How we recommend you go through to decide how to start your color match, and then how to progress through it. So you've got these mixing cups. These mixing cups are made for matching the color. They're not made for measuring the color necessarily. They're going to actually probably be maybe around an 1/8 ounce off on the markings, just because of the way the cup is designed. So just be aware of that. So don't necessarily use it to measure, but you can get an idea of how much product you're working up to. But this is primarily used to match color. So first, what we're going to do is I'm going to just lay out the 4 colors that we give you. So let's kind of shake up your little bottles before you use them. This is going to be gloss white, so we'll kind of show you how bright this actually gets. Oh, that is the darndest thing, how gravity, actually it's probably wind. And we'll just clean all this up with acetone, so don't worry too much about it. And you see how that white there, let me make sure we're getting a decent, yeah, okay. It's a pretty decent view. Let me adjust this just a little bit, hang on. Okay, so that's gloss white. And just a little wind, I guess wind, I don't know, you know, it's just so subtle. Anyway, that's the gloss white. And then the next one I'm going to do, this is going to be gold white. You just, like I said, always just shake your bottle up a little bit before you use it. This is going to be gold white. And this is how we recommend, just put a little drop on the surface. Make sure your glove's not sticky or wet from the last one. Swirl it around, and then we're going to just hit these with the blow dryer real quick here in just a second, because they will darken slightly as they dry. So you want to hit it, you know, take about 10 seconds, 15 seconds with the blow dryer to see really what that finished shade is going to look like. Okay, this one is our gray white. I'm going to go here with it. Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. Gray white's going to be very close. In fact, that's almost a spot on. But I'll go ahead and show you our almond. Obviously, I don't anticipate this being an almond tub. But occasionally you will get, you know, kind of a tub that just has like a hint of almond. And maybe you just need to put just a little bit in there just to give it just a slight tint. And sometimes that's the case. But obviously, in this case, you know, that almond is going to be much darker than we actually need. So I'll show you these 4 swatches. Let me hit them real quick with a blow dryer. Okay, I'll pick that up and I'll just show you. Obviously the almond is too dark, gloss white is too bright, but you've got gold white here, which it's a little light, if you can tell that. And then the gray white is probably just a hint dark. So what I'm actually going to do, and one thing you need to understand is gold and gray will actually counteract each other, and they kind of neutralize each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mix a little bit of gray white and a little bit of gold white, and hopefully it will neutralize right there in the center, and hit this tub perfectly. Because, you know, take your time on this color match. You can make it look very good. As you'll see here, we should be able to get a very good match. Just using, looks like gold white and gray white is what we're going to combine to get this. And so what I would be doing, you know, let's say hypothetically it was gray was, you know, the right tint, but maybe it was too dark. Sometimes I might use gray white as my base and then lighten it up with gloss white. Or, you know, occasionally it'll be like kind of a light almond. So sometimes I might use a gloss white as my base and use an almond to darken it down. So just take your time when you're actually building up your batch of material here. You want to hit the color match by the time you get it up to about 1 ounce. So take your time. Don't try to hit, you know, if you're thinking, oh, I gotta have 2 ounces, just take your time. Don't try to put out 2 ounces of product at once and then try to tint it from there, because you're gonna run out of product probably. So you want to go slow, kind of get a feel for the ratio before you really try to build up and hit a larger batch like that. So here I'm just going to do about a 1/2 ounce of gold white, and then I'm going to do about a 1/2 ounce of gray white, and I'm going to stir those up, and we're going to kind of see where we're at with those. Hopefully we'll be pretty darn close. And on this size of repair, you know, 1 ounce of, this is resin. This is the paint resin. So in the instructions, or if you hear us call it resin, that's what this is. So 1 ounce of resin, then you add your catalyst and reducer to it, and that's gonna be more than enough product to make this repair. So just be sure to stir it up well, get your colors mixed in nicely. I always recommend wipe off your stick one time here. That way you've got, you know, none of the concentrated color on there, but only mixed color is what you're dealing with. So do that. Alright, so I'm just going to take a little dab and put it on the surface, and then swirl it around. And this is just the routine, and this is a pretty easy color match. And I'm very happy with that, but I do want to, I'll go ahead and show you one thing that you'll do. So right here, you know, it's like I've probably got about 1 ounce, but I'm not sure. And I definitely, you know, it's easier to mix your ratios if you have at least 1 ounce of resin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just build this batch up just a little bit more. And I'm going to put just a little bit of gold white in there because I know my ratio. And then I'm going to match that with a little bit of gray white, and that's going to bring me over 1 ounce in this jar, just a little bit. And that's where I want to be, because a lot of times these jars are about 1/8 ounce short, and it's, you know, it's kind of annoying. You want to pour in 1 ounce into your actual spray jar. So now one thing is, right now in Missouri it is freezing cold. And so you want to be sure to bring your product to room temperature. So if you receive your kit and it's cold outside, all these products are oil-based. They're not, you don't have to worry about them freezing, but you do want to bring them back to room temperature before you work with them, because it can throw off your working times. The products can be thicker, especially like our coating will be thicker if it's like freezing cold or something. And so it can make it harder for things to function properly. So we always recommend, if you can just leave your kit inside overnight or something, warm it up and then use it the next day. That's going to be the best way, easiest way to work with all of your products. So now, this is probably most troublesome part that people find, and I want to really talk to you about how to go through prepping your coating here. So I've got my swatch. In fact, that's one thing. Don't forget to wipe off your swatch. Just a little bit of acetone on a paper towel. You can wipe it off. It's very easy to forget that's there if you, because it matches pretty good, and then you won't see it in the future. But anyway, so here, I'll try to turn that a little bit. Okay, so this is where you want to measure your product. You don't want to use the cup to measure your product. You want to use these markings on the outside, not the milliliter side, but the outside. And so all I'm going to shoot for right here is 1 ounce of resin. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this so I can see. I'm just going to go ahead and pour it in there. Yeah, like I said, you know, I had more than 1 ounce in my cup, but you know, what's left in the cup plus the, you know, the little bit that's off, you know, that was like right at 1 ounce of product here. So good with that. We want now the minimum ratio, and this is, we are going to be updating our instructions. So if you read our reviews and you see people complaining about the sprayer malfunctioning, we give you one sprayer, one full system, and then we also give you a backup sprayer just to try to minimize any issues with the sprayers malfunctioning. If one does malfunction, it doesn't work properly, something like that, we don't want you to be hung out there. We've used these products for like years and years. We've gone through thousands of pre-vals. So we understand they can be a little finicky, and we understand also how to kind of best use them and mitigate any trouble. So what we're going to be updating the instructions to is our minimum ratio calls for, and this is what's currently in our instructions, is 4 parts resin, 1 part catalyst, and 2 parts reducer. Okay, that is the minimum ratio. We are changing that slightly to where it's going to be 4 parts resin, and it's going to be 1 to 2 parts reducer, and 2 to 3 parts, or I'm sorry, 4 parts resin, 1 to 2 parts catalyst, and 2 to 3 parts reducer. So it gives you a window there, and basically you want to be over that minimum ratio. So I think that's generally, if both sprayers are malfunctioning, there's an issue with the thickness of the coating, and so hopefully that's going to allow people to err on the high side. You know, if you get, you're not really going to get too much reducer in there, and you know, the catalyst, you can be over that minimum ratio. Just don't be under. It can mess up your sprayer. So here I'm just going to add some catalyst, and like I said, I've got 1 ounce. You'll see ½ ounce marks here. I'm probably going to be getting close to that ½ ounce mark, so I will be over 1/4 ounce. And also, there is a thing called a meniscus, and I want to show you that. I think I can show you that here. Okay, one thing to be aware of is when you're mixing this, we will focus, you can kind of see it on the back side there. Okay, that coating is going to kind of run up the side of the jar just a little bit, and it's going to cause it to look like it's, you know, maybe an 1/8 ounce higher than it actually is. So you want to be aware of that, and just like I said, don't be fooled by that. Err on the higher side when you're doing your mixing your coating. You want to, you know, just be sure you've got enough product in there. So we're you know, at the top of the meniscus, we're at the bottom side of ½ ounce, you know, but I know that we are that meniscus, we've got more than 1/4 ounce, which is the minimum, but not quite ½ ounce either. So we're in that window there, so we're good with that. Even if I hit the full ½ ounce, that would be fine. So reducer, I'm going to go ahead and stick in a little over ½ ounce. I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to go slightly over 2 ounces. Now don't be fooled by that meniscus. You'll see at the bottom of that meniscus, I actually have slightly more than that 2 ounce mark. So that's slightly more than ½ ounce. So recap real quick. We've got 1 ounce of resin in here, and then we've got probably a little more than 1/4 ounce of catalyst, and a little more than a ½ ounce of reducer. So 4 parts resin, 1 part catalyst, 2 parts reducer. Minimum ratio, we've got a little bit more than that, but we're within that window of 1 to 2 parts catalyst and 2 to 3 parts reducer. So I'm good with this. The other thing is just be sure to stir this up real well. Get that resin off the bottom, get it off the walls. Don't just swish this around, really stir it up. This isn't like, this isn't like mixing, I don't know, baby formula, for example. That stuff just melts into water. So this is, you want to just stir this up nice and long. You don't want to be, sucking any pure resin through that pre-valve. That'll just dunk it up real quick. Then you got to troubleshoot it. And troubleshooting, I'm telling you, with 2 systems, if you have issues with your systems, just troubleshoot them like we do it in the video. You can see in the video, there's a QR code in the instructions that'll take you to a troubleshooting video. That's gonna, I would say 90% of the time, that is gonna fix your pre-valve by going through that troubleshooting process. So just take your time, don't get frustrated. If you get in a pickle or something like that, just give us a call. We're gonna take care of you. Our goal is to fix your tub and help you get through this project. So don't be intimidated by it. Just know we've got your back. We're here for you. We are kind of, we want to be your partners in this and really get you through and get you, really just save your tub and save you a lot of money. That's our goal. And we'll talk you through any issues. So I've got this set up here. The main thing, this V-notch, in this case it's not going to be so bad because I'm going to be spraying vertically, and so that's not going to be a big deal. But this V-notch, if I was spraying down, you want that V-notch facing up and then the sprayer going away. So you can twist this sprayer on there, that's no problem. That V-notch. And then also make sure this metal canister is sitting down in this plastic base sometimes they'll get a little loose in there, and that can cause a bad seal and it won't suck properly. So that's it. Our coating's ready to go, so we're going to set that off to the side and get ready to finish out this repair. Now hopefully I do not have to do a 3rd coat. We're going to see. Depends on how well I can sand this. One thing to keep in mind is if your bathroom is a little cooler, let's say you're keeping your house around like 67 degrees, you definitely want it to be at least 65 degrees in your bathroom. But 67 degrees, 68 degrees, it could take a little longer for this stuff to fully set. So just know if you're working at a bathroom and it's 72, 74 degrees or something like that, this stuff's probably going to set a little faster. So just be aware of that. Don't be alarmed if it's taking a little longer. Just be aware of the temperature in your bathroom. You can use this blow dryer to heat it up, get that to cure. So I'm just going to give this a little bit longer, and then we'll get ready to sand it. Okay, so still just letting that cure just a little bit longer. Let's see, so yeah, ultimately, hope you guys are having a good day. Don't really go off talking about random stuff very often, but we've got some time here. Um, if you have any questions about doing your tub repair, you can text us pictures. So email us, text us, you can message us on our website. We want to see pictures. That's going to help us, give you even more like specific pointers on your projects and things to be aware of. Now, it really won't change the process as a whole, so it shouldn't change anything too much in that regard, but there might be some things that some pointers I might give you that could help you a little bit, or maybe you're working on a big project and I can guide you on what kit to purchase, or maybe you need an extra can of glass putty. A lot of times if you have a large crack or maybe a large hole in the wall of your tub or something and you're trying to get it repaired, you're like, I don't know if one kit's going to do it, then you might need to add an extra can of glass putty. That is generally the thing that's going to be, you're going to run short on glass putty first, because especially if it's like a hole in the wall or something, you really want to make that thick and strong, but also make it pretty wide so you can feather it out. It's not so obtrusive. So that's what I would recommend. If you have any questions about your repair, give me a call. Give us a call. We'll talk to you about it. We'd love to see it, and then we can really guide you even better on how to go through it. So we'll go ahead and start knocking some of this off. I'm going to go ahead and use the 80 grit because it's a little thick up here, so I'm going to just kind of start to get that shape with the 80 grit, and I'll probably finish it out with 120 grit. I'm going to use the 120. We're just going to kind of get this a little smoother. Okay, you always want to give it a good feel. If you ever have a lip or anything around there and you can feel it, you're going to be able to see it when you spray it. So just be aware of that. Take your time on that sanding part. That's really going to be what makes or breaks the look of your repair. So hang on, I'm going to vacuum clean this up. Okay, now you're gonna have a little bit of wipe-on primer. Just gonna take a little bit of that. You're gonna have a half ounce of it. That's gonna be plenty. So don't feel like you gotta just pour it all over that. See how wet that got? That's more than enough. So I'm actually gonna soak some of that up with the dryer part. So you just want to get it all over the area that you're repairing, kind of around it. So whenever you spray it, this is an adhesion promoter, so it's going to help that coating stick even better. So I'm going to give that just about 20 seconds to dry. I'm going to hit it with the blow dryer and then we'll spray it. Now I'm just going to give it a spray. I'll just fog it on. So I'm going to be about 12 inches back. I'm just going to fog it on, blow dry it, and just go through that and build it up until the repair is fully coated. So here we go. Okay, unfortunately, and I thought this, sometimes you got to be careful. When you get on the edge like this, you see that little dot right there? We got to go ahead and get some finish putty in there, otherwise it's not gonna, the coating's not gonna take. And sometimes you don't see that stuff until you get that first coat on, We highly recommend if you see something like that, just stop. Go ahead and take the extra time. We're going to go ahead and wipe that coating off there. Then we're going to do one more coat, a light coat of finish putty, just to, it's not going to be anywhere near like what we did, but that's what you got to do. So we're just going to do that. Wipe that off real quick. I've still got plenty of coating in my jar, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'm going to hit this top edge here with just a little bit of finish putty, get that sealed up, and then we'll go forward again. Okay. Okay, we just did a thin coat on that one, real thin. That's going to go ahead and seal that up, and that's, you know, I think I got into that when I was sanding it with my 80 grit sandpaper. Kind of went through a little faster than I'd hoped. There's a little bit of a bow up here, which I think is why I got into it like I did. So just, you know, this is a pretty good example of, you know, kind of being patient in all things that you do. And it'll save you time because you don't have to go back and do another coat like this. So anyway, but if you get into it, it's not the end of the world. You know, you got a little extra finish putty. Just go ahead and just do it. Do one more coat over the top of it. We're gonna let this set up. I'm gonna hit it with the blow dryer. When it gets dry, I'm gonna lightly sand it and really just try not to expose that edge there like I did. Keep that coated with that finish putty. So here we go. I'm going to dry this out with the blow dryer a little bit. So. one thing I am going to do, this will save me a little bit of sanding time, is kind of as it starts to firm up, it's not fully cured, but it's still, you can take some off with the acetone. I'm going to go ahead and hit this backside here, try to get some of that, just kind of clean up that edge a little bit. That's going to help me with my sanding. Just lightly hitting that edge. Same with this edge here. Just taking off any kind of thick, any clumpy stuff that I can see. That's going to save me a little bit of sanding time. It's also going to help me keep it a little cleaner. So just did that. Now I'm going to keep drying it out. Okay, so while that's setting up, be sure to put in the comments if you have any questions. This is kind of what we're dealing with here. We that third coat. It was necessary, but it's also going to take a little bit longer now. But it's going to come together nicely, so no, not worried about that either way. But anyway, I always dreamed like, oh, I'll have a podcast someday and I will just share all of my ideas on the podcast, and then I get on here and I'm like, tub repair only, and that's all I really care to talk about. So if you guys have any questions about tub repair, let me know. We're really trying to design an easy system. I think our system is very easy to use, and we're helping people save their tubs. So this is just like a rental Airbnb property, so we're going to get them back up and running. They'll be able to use this again tomorrow, which is going to be nice. And yeah, so this was a pretty large chip. It was about that big, kind of over the whole bull nose there. And yeah, so we're just going to get this fixed up here real quick. I'm going to keep drying it out. Okay, well, kind of recap what we're doing if anybody new's in here. So we had a big chip out of the gel coat of this tub. We still had a fiberglass backing, so we're essentially installing a ultimate chip kit. Everything that you need will be in that kit. The only thing is this blow dryer, extension cord, vacuum, 3-prong splitter, a 5-inch orbital sander, which we actually did not use on this repair because it was so minor, and generally if it's just the finished putty you're dealing with, that can be pretty easily hand sanded if it's not too big of an area. So we're just hand sanding it today, and then we'll go ahead and finish it out with the coating. Every kit includes 4 different colors of resin, catalyst, reducer, an 8-ounce bottle of acetone with a sprayer, 4 gloves, stir sticks, mixing cups, mesh tape, basically everything you need. So it's it's kind of a one-stop shop, and then it'll fix your tub. It'll fix anything from small chips like the ultimate chip kit like this one, up to like a big hole in the wall, the size of a baseball. The large wall repair kit will fix that. You start getting bigger than a baseball, you start getting to be like the size of a softball, a grapefruit, or something like that. You might want to add a can of glass putty to it. That's generally what you'll need. That's what you'll be running short on if you were working on a large hole. So we're getting close on this. Just don't want to rush this part, otherwise we'll be doing a rerun again, and we don't want to do that, especially on a live stream. So be patient, a couple more minutes, and then we'll finish this thing out. Okay, so I'm going to use the 120 grit, and I'm just going to get these edges. I'm just going to try to feather those edges and just lightly doing this. I'm not trying to get back into that edge like I did last time, so lightly go with the 120 instead of that 80. That 80 was probably a little too aggressive for the finished putty in that situation. So we'll take our time here. We'll try to just get this shape back out, get those edges feathered, and then we'll go forward. Okay. Alright, much better. And I apologize about that, but that's sometimes what happens. Okay, so we'll start this over, we'll clean it up again. You know, and we're just going to start that process over of cleaning and priming, and then we'll spray it. Okay, so we prime it, we're going to dry it for about 15-20 seconds. Okay, take a quick peek. We got that edge all cleaned up there, it's all filled. Yeah, just try to make sure of that before you can move forward. That's my bad last time. So here we go. So one thing you'll notice as you're drying this, you'll see that coating start to lay down and flatten out as you're drying it. So I'm going to give it a good, 30 more seconds of drying, and then we'll put on another coat. Now be careful on this bull nose here. So if you start to get a little thick on the edge, now this edge here is going to be the hardest part. You're really prone to get a drip there on that edge because you're going to hit it coming from the top and you're hitting it coming from this side. And so while you're trying to build it up down here and up here, you're hitting it everything double right on that edge. So you got to be careful, really dry it in between coats, and then I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to try to spray it up a little bit so I'm not just hitting that edge straight on. And we'll try to really just try to shield that edge a little bit. this is another one of those parts where you take your time, dry it in between. You know, I really want to be careful on this bullnose, so dry it a lot longer in between, you know, maybe even 2 minutes, maybe more. You just want to be careful and not build that up too fast. You'll get a drip on that edge. That would be annoying. Then you either dab it or you're going to take it off and retry it. So I'm actually going to try to spray this upwards, which is hopefully going to get it off that edge a little bit. That felt pretty good. And then I'm going to spray it back and just try to hit that back side there. Not too fast. If you see a drip starting to form, one thing you can do is you take that blow dryer and you just put that air right on it. Get that air right on it. So I'm giving it longer time to dry in between. So it's getting a little thick on that bull nose. I'm just being real careful. You don't want to build that up. Do a drip, especially at this point. Just do a couple passes, and then I'm going to let that be. Same up here. Don't get too close. Don't get too eager on coating it. I'm just trying to fog it on, build it up slowly. that one kind of spit a couple of drops out, which I don't like. So I'm going to take a little bit of acetone with a paper towel. Let's just fold it. I'm just going to lightly dab those little drops, kind of thick drops that popped out there. Get rid of those. Okay. So that's it. Let's do the little edge there. Okay, so I'm gonna let that cure. I'll let that cure for, 24 hours. If you can let it cure overnight, 24 hours, and then go back. You get up to a 3,000 grit sandpaper, so I'd actually go along this back edge here, possibly sand some of that down. And then I'd go ahead and clean up this bottom right below this repair with some acetone, because there's likely some stuff that, just basically some spray powder is what I kind of call it. Some spray that solidified and turned into dust. Look down below. We're going to wipe that up down below. But then I would, come back the next day, get up to 3,000 grit sandpaper, knock down this back edge there, and I would caution you on wiping it with acetone and cleaning up that edge, because you could likely leave kind of a hard line there, and that would look kind of bad. So I'd recommend not doing that. But that's it. Now we're gonna move on to the next job. Clean out my sprayer. That thing's going to be good for another job probably. So anyway, let us know if you have any questions. That was the Ultimate Chip Repair Kit. Remember, we had a chip in there about the size of a shotgun shell, or about the size of my thumb. Pretty long chip, and now it looks good. They're going to be able to rent this out and not have any issues with it. So there we go. Alright guys, thank you very much, and until next time.